Hello. Today as I stand here talking to you, there's a man in the UK who's in jail. His name is Tommy Robinson. You may have heard of him. If you haven't, I would strongly recommend that you look him up on YouTube. He's a father of young children. He's an Englishman. And he's a man who has serious concerns as to the future of his country. Tommy, last week, spent some time outside a trial that was going on into the grooming rape gangs in the UK, and he was highlighting something which the mainstream media really should have been highlighting. It shouldn't have been left to someone like Tommy to do that, but he did it, and he stepped up to the plate. Now, when I first heard about Tommy, I was impressed because I know people who went to school with Tommy, and they're black, by the way. So when people tell you that Tommy Robinson is a racist, they're lying. Tommy Robinson is not a racist. Tommy Robinson is, I guess, what you call a patriot. Tommy Robinson is someone who believes that if he can't speak up when the rest of the media is silent on issues which are having a huge impact on his country, then that's going to be a problem for everybody further down the line. Now, this law that they have on free speech, it's either free speech or it's not. And that law really, in the first place, shouldn't ever have been brought in, because what it's been used to do is shut down dissent. It's been used to shut down people, to get them to change their tact. It's almost like political correctness within yourself. You are now told to police yourself and your thoughts and in what you say. And how that's ever going to be good for the future of any country is beyond me. We here in Ireland, we're one step away. We think, well, that's over there, that's not us. But actually, that's one step away from us. And very, very soon, people like you and people like me will be told not just what to think, when to think it, who to think it about. That is fundamentally wrong. We have a man in Tommy Robinson who is someone, as I said, who cares very deeply about his country and is speaking up on behalf, I should add, of millions of decent, ordinary people who feel that he is the only voice that they have. Now, how did that come about? A country like England with all its news outlets, BBC, Channel 4, and yet the whole system seems to have gotten to the point where you cannot criticise the decisions being made by the powers that be. And that's a very dangerous thing. That's very close to Nazi Germany. And I know that's a strong word to use, but when I look at the blackout on these trials that are happening in the UK, where young girls are being raped, they're being groomed from the ages of 11 to 13, and it's predominantly, if the people who were doing this had red hair, we would have no problem calling them out and say those red-headed guys are at it again. As it happens in this instance, we're talking about a group of people from a particular area of the world, and this is part of their culture. This isn't an accident. This is how things are in that part of the world. You go to India, where there's no translation into Indian or Hindu for the word paedophile. Why? Because in those countries they believe that it's acceptable to marry a child once she starts to menstruate. That makes her a woman. Now, think about that. How are we here in Ireland going to deal with that when people who have that belief come to our country and feel that they have every right to impose their cultures on us? That's going to be very difficult for us, because we've long had this idea that children are innocent. And without that protection, there is no protection. You have a situation now in the UK, which to me, I've been to the UK, I've travelled around the world, I've seen this simmering tension, which is very real. You go to Paris, you can feel it in the outskirts, you go to these Netherlands, where there's block after block after block of foreign people who've come, many in search of a better life, but many just in search of benefits and benefits tourism, some people call it. But the problem that we have now is that whether people are working and contributing to our society and following our laws, or whether they have no respect for us or our laws, they are still welcome. And the reason being, of course, is that the powers that be want more consumers. They want more people to buy their stuff. That's really at the heart of this, and they have no preference for people who share their ideals. They have no preference for people who are like them. And what I would say, just to end this subject on Tommy, is that we all feel more comfortable being around people that we are more comfortable being around. And don't think for 1 minute that black people or Muslim people are any different than us. They want to be around the people they want to be around. The only difference is they've now come to our home. And I'm seeing in London and in the UK, in Manchester and Birmingham, Sharia law is coming. There are already places in as far away as Scotland where there are patrols at night time of the mostly Muslim areas, and they're telling people you cannot come here dressed like that. You cannot bring your girlfriend here while she's drinking. I'm somebody who's travelled, and when I travel, the first thing I do is I pay respect for the local customs. I will find out what's acceptable, what's not, and I will do what's appropriate because I have respect for those countries. If that ever doesn't happen the other way around, that's when we start to get real problems. So what I'd say to you now, find out about Tommy Robinson. Listen to what he's got to say, because this ridiculous notion that he's somebody who hates foreigners, you know he doesn't. Tommy Robinson is a bit like himself. He's somebody who loves his own country and doesn't want to see it ending up the way that I would predict it's going to go. And he will also tell you 20, 40 years from now, whether there is in England or not will be the big question. And the reason I'm so concerned is because I feel the same thing has started to happen here in Ireland. And unless we put our foot down now and say, look, let's plan for the future, let's not be swamped by it. Find out about Tommy, go online, there's a petition at the moment to help trying to get him released from prison, and listen to the man, and don't fall for the rubbish that they're telling you that this is a bad man who hates foreigners. No, nothing could be further from the truth. You know, the people who grew up with Tommy will tell you he's a sound guy. I know West Indians who grew up with him, I know Indians who grew up with him, and they say to me, he hasn't got a racist bone in his body, and I believe that. So don't buy into the narrative that tells you Tommy Robinson is anything other than a good patriot who's concerned about the future of his country. And you should be too, to see what's happened to him just for speaking his mind.